In our first example, we're going to look at the division statement of 2 divided into 2/3. We're going to start by drawing out rectangles to represent the 2 that we are starting with. So I'm going to start with 2 rectangles here. Now, if we look at our second number, the denominator here is 3. So let's divide each of these wholes into thirds. And because we are dividing into 2/3, let's now group these up into groups of 2/3. So here's our first group. Here's a second group. And here is a third group. So our result is that when 2 gets divided into groups of 2/3, we have 3 groups. Let's look at a second example here. We're going to start with 1.5. So let's draw out a rectangle and a half to begin. And I'm going to put in my halfway mark right at the beginning here, so that when I go to draw the second rectangle, I can stop at the halfway mark. And I'm just going to put a dotted line here to match up with our first part. So here is 1.5, and our second part of the question, our denominator is 6. So we're going to need to divide each of these wholes into 6 pieces, which is to say that each of our halves need to get divided into 3 pieces. And now let's go through our groups of 2/6 and count them up. So here's a first group, here's a second group, here's a third group, here's a fourth group, and we have half of a group. Therefore, our answer to this is 4 1/2.